years, I've been fortunate enough to have the opportunity to try many different types of motion rig. And after being wibble-wobbled and bounced around in pretty much every way conceivable to mankind, one thing has become very clear indeed. And that is, less is definitely best when it comes to motion simulation. To be clear, if someone was setting up a motion simulator for a trade show, marketing event, or even a theme park, where the objective is to blow a person's nipples off in a very short period of time, leaving a permanent stain on their brain, then the more motion, the merrier. But for people like me that are looking for a more realistic or more informative and immersive driving experience, tight, precise and concise motion is really what it's all about. Unfortunately, due to the nature of reality and physics, the more literal G-forces you want to experience from a motion rig, the larger the motion rig has to be to accommodate larger motion rig movements. And with this additional size, pretty much universally, comes additional latency. Latency that gives the user of these motion rigs the experience of driving a P&O ferry across the channel in bad weather, rather than the experience of driving a finely tuned race car around a circuit. From my experience, when a motion rig focuses on suspension travel primarily, heave and the loading of a vehicle through corners, rather than the overall G-force experience of driving, you actually end up with something quite magical. And that is the experience of feeling as if you're in a metal box attached to springs that are themselves attached to wheels. And crucially, a metal box attached to springs that's attached to wheels that corresponds exactly to what is going on with what your eyes are seeing on the screen or through your VR headset. Rather than with larger motion where you're seemingly struggling against the forces you're experiencing, instead you're actually working in unison with the forces. And this is very much similar to if you've set a force feedback wheel up correctly, where ideally the wheel is telling you what's going on in the sim and then you drive and respond to that information accordingly. When it all connects together, it's really what makes driving simulators different from other video games, in that not only are you playing a game and seeing it on a screen and reacting to it, but you are literally feeling the game that you're playing. From a pure driver training and professional simulation perspective, having motion forces that are delayed and fundamentally abstract from the real thing is only going to throw a real-world race driver off, even more so than your average consumer, because they will immediately default to trying to use those forces as if they were forces generated by a real car. Outside of the fundamental driving benefits of focusing on smaller motion, from a pure practicality standpoint, there's the big benefit that you don't need a Godzilla sim rig in order to achieve this suspension focused motion. And there's multiple solutions out there that can literally just be bolted to your standard T-slot sim rig, or come as a platform that allow you to simply put most sim rigs on top of. Now, I would say one of the downsides to these suspension focused minimal motion systems is that when it comes to braking, things can just seem a bit off, in that you push the brake pedal, the rig moves forwards a tiny bit and then absolutely nothing happens. Fortunately and surprisingly, by having a seatbelt system that's mounted separate to the motion platform, that small amount of forward motion is enough to apply quite a substantial amount of force to your seatbelts, which gives a very good illusion for sustained braking G-forces. Additionally, we have started to see more G-seats with paddles that push against you or bladders that inflate, but I have to say, of the ones I've used, none of them have really been that impressive, or even mildly close to even something like go-karting. Hopefully you now understand why less is more when it comes to race car motion simulation. Now, though it might have seemed like it, I'm not hating on ginormous, super expensive motion simulators in this video. The fact of the matter is, a larger rig does offer a lot more versatility. Not only can they be set up super responsive and toned down, but they are capable of movements that a smaller rig just simply can't do. In short, everything is a compromise, and there's always going to be a use case even for things that seem on the face of it to be utterly mental. For example, there's a use case for a bold weirdo that makes simulator videos on the internet. Who would have thought it? Well, that's it guys. Click that like button, bang the bell, and maybe check out other videos on this channel. But until the next live stream or video, happy tea drinking, happy sim racing, and goodbye everybody.